Hello everybody. Uh, well, I got a stand for my Smart Aleck phone in the car. I got it glued onto the on the dashboard, the top of the dashboard there, so no hands. All I need now is my ukulele, and I could sing you a song, but I don't have it right now. In fact, I don't even have a ukulele. And furthermore, I'm not crazy about the ukulele to begin with, but I do like the baritones, the bigger ones. They have a fuller sound. God damn, it's nerves. Whenever I get on camera, my nose itches. Anyway, as you can see, I've been putting on a lot of weight. I can't move as much as I used to. I've got bad knees, and I've been kind of down in the dumps, and I just no motivation to even move except for to the refrigerator, back to the couch. That's the only exercise I've been getting lately. From the couch to the refrigerator and back, and into the bathroom and back, and then I go to bed at night. That's about it. I don't know. It's just so I'm starting to get my beer belly back, even though I stopped drinking beer. I drink wine now, cheap Carlo Rossi wine. Become a wino, and that helps take the edge off. But hope springs eternal, and so I'm just gonna try to keep as positive as I can while I ride this one out. This has been a doozy. Anyway, didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I guess I'm just trying out the new camera. I can't believe no hands, and so maybe I can sing you a song. Let me think, what kind of a song should I sing you? Okay, I don't know if you want to hear this one or not, but I'll sing you the Hobo's Lullaby. I'm gonna sing this one probably in a couple of weeks on the banjo. The Hobo's Lullaby is a song written by, I think, George Goebel Reeves, and it was Woody Guthrie's favorite song. I've heard him say that. Ow, my knee just locked. That's why I have a minivan, because it's one I can actually fit in it, but it's still really tight. I'm 6'4", and it's hard to find, and about 500 pounds, so it's hard to find a car that I can fit in. But anyway, Woody used to hop the freight trains, and he used to stick his thumb out on the highway. That was his mode of transportation. He used to take his guitar with him everywhere he went, and he would write down words, making up new songs as he went along. And he would sing those songs on the street corners and in the taverns, and wherever there was people, he would just start playing his guitar, and people would throw maybe some loose change that they had in his guitar case or in his hat. And so he can get himself a nice cold beer for a nickel. That's what a beer cost back in the Great Depression. After they ended Prohibition. But you could still get a beer during Prohibition. It just might cost you a little bit more. It might cost you a dime. So go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. Now don't you worry about tomorrow. Let tomorrow come and go. Tonight you're in a nice warm boxcar, safe from all that wind and snow. So go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's a hobo's lullaby. I know your clothes are torn and ragged, and your hair is turning gray, but lift your eyes and smile at trouble. You'll find happiness someday. So go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's a hobo's lullaby. One more verse. I know that life is full of trouble, and times are hard everywhere. But when you die and go to heaven, there'll be no more troubles there. So go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's a hobo's lullaby. And that's the end of the song. Now you might have noticed, people that are familiar with the hobo's lullaby, the last verse, it goes, I know the police cause you trouble, but they cause trouble everywhere. But when you die and go to heaven, there'll be no police officers there. I never liked that verse. I'm pro-police, legitimate police, not the politically motivated kind like they have up in Canada and here in the United States now. But the honest, hard-working police officer, I'm pro-police. So I could not sing that verse in good faith, and I hardly never, ever change lyrics to a song out of respect for the song. But that song was disrespectful to the police. I understand why they wrote it back then, a hobo trying to make, just, get by in life. The police don't want them hopping their freight trains, or doing this and that. But I couldn't sing it, so I just changed a couple lines, and so hopefully you won't get too offended with me by that. What's the audio quality like? So I guess, what can we talk about now? I know what I really wanted to talk to you guys about. This is important. I want to do it because I think it'll really help you guys out there. If you're fans of pizza, which I guess everybody likes pizza in this world, I have got it down to make a homemade pizza to a science, where it's better than anything you can buy in the grocery store, and it's at least as good as the kind you can buy, like say at Pizza Hut or Domino's. I know that's saying a lot, because that's good pizza, the kind that you can buy at those chains like Domino's is really good. I haven't eaten there in probably 10 years just because I'm so good at making it. And I'll tell you the recipe. It's different though than you're going to find anywhere else, because like I say, I have this down to a science where it's incredibly easy, it's incredibly cheap, it's very affordable, and it's unbelievably good. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I just want to let you know, because prices are really high now. Inflation is really bad, and anybody can do this. I'm going to try to do it as quickly as I can, keep things moving along, but there are a few important steps that I really want to emphasize, and I'll try to do it when I get there. And at the end, I'll let you know some variations you can try. Okay, first of all, what you want to do, you want to have on hand all the time a packet of yeast, not those little individual things that you buy. You'll go broke if you use that. Just buy some instant yeast. You can get it, I think they sell them in a lot of the grocery stores now, but I go to a restaurant supply grocery store. Every town has one. They're not on the main drag, they're kind of hidden off to the side, but you can find them. They're open to the public. So go in there and buy a thing of yeast. I use it all the time, and it'll last me about a year and a half, and even by then, by the time it expires, I still have a little bit left. And I make pizza at least once a week, sometimes twice. I make other things like cinnamon rolls, different pastries, bread. But getting back to the pizza now, another thing you got to have on hand at all times is cheese, and you get the cheese from the same restaurant grocery store. Don't buy the kind in a regular grocery store. It's nowhere near as good as this stuff. And the kind in the restaurant grocery store is actually cheaper than the kind in the grocery store. You're going to buy it in bulk. You're going to buy a big 64-ounce bag. You'll keep that in the freezer, so whenever you got a hankering for a pizza, you just pull it out of the freezer and you got your yeast right there. And you're gonna have jars of spaghetti sauce. You can make your own. I'll tell you how to do that later on. But most of the time I just use a spaghetti sauce. You don't need a pizza sauce. It's a matter of finding one that you like. It's just subjective. So to make the dough, to make a regular pizza, you normally use water, warm water, a pinch of sugar, and some yeast, and then flour and salt, and a little bit of olive oil. Mix it all together. Now, water doesn't have much taste to it as far as when you use it for cooking food, so I've started using milk. This is optional. You can use water or milk for my recipe, okay? That is not the big thing. There's some important things, but I recommend using milk if you got it, though. It creates a more tender crust, a more flavorful crust, and it browns up even better. So to make an extra large pizza, very, very large pizza, you would need 1 cup of milk, about half a teaspoon of olive oil, maybe 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of yeast. Give or take a little bit, but you got to be careful with the. If you add too much yeast, your pizza's going to taste like a sourdough. That's the worst thing that could happen. So for whatever 1 cup of liquid, whether that is a water, milk, olive oil is a liquid. If you add I made it with an egg. I even added an egg to it. All that together, if it equals 1 cup, use 1 teaspoon of yeast. Sometimes I add a little bit more if I'm using milk, and especially if I'm using an egg, I'll add a little bit more because it needs a little bit of a boost. Anyway, you want to warm that up. You don't want to go over 115 degrees. I just stick it in the microwave for like 10-15 seconds and pull it out so it's warm. Then I'll add the sugar, like say a couple teaspoons of sugar. I just eyeball that. Then I add in the yeast, the 1 teaspoon of yeast, and then I add the flour. Oh wait, then I add the extra virgin olive oil. About I just eyeball that. Usually it's probably about a half a tablespoon, a whole tablespoon. That's not really crucial, but it does add to the lightness and the texture of the pizza crust. So I recommend using that in the dough, and we're going to use it at the end. I'll show you. We're going to use some more olive oil. So then add your salt. Mix that all together. You don't need a machine. Just get a bowl and get a regular fork to kind of eat with. And instead of holding the fork at the end, hold the fork way down on the bottom so the tongs are just sticking out, because you have more leverage, more strength. And you just add the flour a little bit at a time, and it'll start getting really stiff. And that's when you'll get a good workout. But just beat it. The whole thing takes about a minute from time to start adding the flour until it's done. Just mix it, and you'll have to rest. Then do it again, and you'll see the gluten strands on the bowl starting to stretch. And then get it pretty thick, but not too thick, okay? If your dough is too stiff, it's gonna taste like a cardboard pizza. We've all heard that term, cardboard pizza. That's what causes it, when your dough is too stiff. I found this out through trial and error over the years. I've made literally hundreds, if not 1,000 of these things, okay? And so what was I talking about? Okay, so once you get that really stiff, but it's still sticky to touch it, okay, you want to stop. Just kind of get it into a ball, put plastic over it, and set it on the counter to rise. It'll take a couple hours. If you're in more of a hurry, you can put that bowl on your pizza sheet pan, stick it in the bottom of the oven, turn the oven on for a minute, and then turn the oven off. Don't forget to turn it off, whatever you do. And that heat will cause it to rise a lot quicker. But you want to give it time to develop flavor as it rises. So that's all there is to it. You want a sticky dough. Now, if you were to knead it like 10 minutes, like the regular recipe says, like on a board, knead it, the dough is going to have a different texture. It's going to be a little bit tougher. It's going to be good, but you're going to have to add more flour to keep the dough from sticking. And like I say, that extra flour really makes it taste like a cardboard pizza. It's not very good, really. So that's something that's kind of crucial right there. And then, like I already mentioned, for your pizza sauce, your tomato sauce, just find a jarred spaghetti sauce you can find. I found the cheapest one, actually. It's roasted garlic, just fairly recently, about 6 months ago to a year ago, and I really like that a lot. I get it at a Winco. That's probably a regional grocery store. I don't think that's nationwide or worldwide. But you can make your own too if you get some really, really ripe tomatoes, very ripe. Dice them up, chop up some garlic. If you want onion in there, put some onion in there, bell pepper, carrots, but for just the basic sauce, it would be chop up some garlic and put it in a pan with a little bit of oil and brown it lightly. Then add your chopped tomatoes. Squeeze some of the juice out of the tomatoes though before you put it in the pan. And then you'll have to add a little bit of sugar to counteract the acidity of the tomatoes. Then you can add in some oregano, and then you add even more extra virgin olive oil at the end. And it'll get thick on its own as you cook it for about 10 or 15 minutes, but you can use a blender or like a boat motor thing. It's a blender. Kind of go around like that, and then kind of cook it down until it gets thicker. You don't want it real thick though. It'll vape off some of the water. So, but most of the time, like 95% of the time, I use just regular old spaghetti sauce. One that I like. It works fine. It works great. I have oregano growing in my backyard in the summer, so I'll usually go out there and get a sprig of that and put some of that on top of the pizza. But another thing I do is get really ripe tomatoes, just dice them up, drain some of the water off, and sprinkle them on the dough. That's really good as well. I do that quite a bit, especially in the summertime. So anyway, so now you're ready to go. That's the hardest part right there, is making the dough, and that is incredibly easy. The whole process from mixing that dough is about 1 minute, and you don't even have to touch it. In fact, I recommend you don't touch it, just the fork, because the more you work it, the tougher the dough is going to get, the more flour you're going to have to add, and it'll be like, so anyway, get yourself a great big pizza pan, extra large, preferably a brown one because that helps it to brown more, and you spray it with a non-stick spray, and then you add some extra virgin olive oil on the bottom of the pan, kind of spread it out a little bit. Take your dough, put it on the pan, have your fingers kind of oily so it doesn't stick, and just start spreading it out with your fingers. It'll kind of contract, let it rest for a few seconds, and then spread it out again. And you'll get it all the way to the end. This is going to be a great big one if you use the 1 cup of liquid. You don't even have to worry about measuring the flour, but normally for the dough, it's normally 3 to 1, give or take. But I would lean on a little bit less than 3 cups because, again, more flour equals cardboard pizza, right? But you don't even have to worry about measuring the flour. You just do it until you get a nice sticky dough. So I know all this is very unorthodox, but I'm telling you, not to brag, this will really help you a lot, and it's so easy. So after you get the pizza all out there, I like it kind of thin. You can just stop there if you want, but oftentimes what I do is I stretch out to get some holes in there, because when you put the cheese on, it's going to kind of get on the bottom of that pan and caramelize. And then, so once you get the dough all spread out on the pan, then you get your sauce, your spaghetti sauce or your homemade sauce. I use spaghetti sauce, like I say, most of the time. I just put some on there. How much you put on there is kind of important. If you add a lot, I don't think that's good, but it's just a nice thin layer all the way around. Okay, for an extra large pizza, I would use probably about 1/4 of that jar of spaghetti sauce. And then the cheese that you get from the restaurant supply store, it's going to be a way better than anything you can buy in the grocery store. Where I go, I get either Roselli, or even better is Schweiber, and low fat, whole milk. It doesn't really matter, they're all great. A lot of times I'll use straight mozzarella, but a lot of times they have a pizza blend where it's mozzarella, provolone, parmigiano, and other things in there. So whatever you choose, just keep a like great big 64-ounce bag. It'll cost you about 11 to 12 bucks, which is cheaper than you can buy in the grocery store. Keep it in your freezer. Just spread the cheese out on top. I don't eat pepperoni anymore. I don't eat pigs anymore. I feel sorry for them. But anyway, one thing I found where you won't even have to worry about, you might not even miss the pepperoni, and this is a big trick I'm about to share with you. And I heard it from an old New York on a cooking show a long time ago. This pizza chef from New York, one of the first ones that opened up like 150 years ago or something, he said, just drizzle a little bit of extra virgin olive oil all over your pizza. Extra virgin, not olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil. It's a big difference. Sprinkle it all over your pizza. Total would be about 2 tablespoons. Makes a huge difference in the flavor. And then whatever toppings you want. I usually just eat it plain, to be honest with you. But I really like, if I'm going to put toppings on there, I really like fresh mushrooms. I'll just dice them up and put them on top. That's really good. Or black olives. I like to slice up black olives. But I usually just eat it plain. And then here is the very crucial part I'm about to explain. In your oven, I put the rack on the lowest part of the oven, and I'll put the pizza in the oven on the lowest rack. I'll shut the door, turn the oven on for like a minute, and then turn it off. And wait about 15-20 minutes. Sometimes I even leave the oven on like a minute and a half, even 2 minutes if I'm getting hungry and I want to eat, faster. But I turn it off and let it proof. You want to proof that dough. You won't find this anywhere else. But it makes a huge difference in the texture, the lightness, the airiness of the dough. Just open the dough and like the door of the oven, and in about 15 minutes you'll see it's all proofed up. And then all you do, you don't preheat your oven. You just turn the oven on to 425, and for a great big large pizza like we're making right now, 3 cups flour, 1 cup liquid, that's going to make a very large one. It's going to take about 22 to 25 minutes. Start watching it. All ovens are a little bit different. By doing it this way, the crust will be completely brown and the top will be perfectly done. If you preheated the oven to 425 before you put the pizza in, the top will be burned and the crust won't even be done yet. This is a very important for what I'm telling you, this recipe that I'm telling you right now. Try it. It's so economical, because you're buying this stuff in bulk, and it's so easy to make. The crust is, making the dough is unbelievably easy. You don't even have to touch it if you don't want to. I like touching dough, but I have found it's better not to. Just mix it up with the fork, and then you can play with it a little bit, get it into a ball, put it in the bowl, put a plastic bag over it that you get from the store, and you'll be shocked at how good it is if you follow those simple instructions. And like I say, it's been itching at me. I really want people to know about this because I think it'll help them. I should show you, but my channel is really not a cooking channel. I should open up another YouTube channel, a cooking show channel, because I have a lot of, being a bachelor my whole life, and being a professional cook at one time, for a long time, most of my career, I've been, I've gotten pretty good at doing this, I make cinnamon rolls are really good. I make my homemade flour tortillas. homemade bread. Although I still buy a lot of store bread, I have to admit, because when I make homemade bread, I still haven't quite mastered that. It goes, it doesn't have a very long shelf life. After about 2 or 3 days, it gets all crumbly. But so try that pizza recipe and let me know how it turns out. I really hope you do try it. The restaurant, grocery store, supply stores where you want to go, the cheese that you can buy in there is way, way better than anything you can buy in the grocery store. There's variations you can play with that. You know, like for the dough, sometimes I'll get crazy and I'll add some garlic to the dough, like, you know, that garlic granulated garlic, or even turmeric to make it yellow, black pepper, and that's really good too. You know, just get creative like that. You can put any kind of topping you want on there, and I don't usually make that much at a time. I usually make about 3/4 cup liquid, and so that would be about 2 1/4 cup flour, and that still makes an extra large. I like it the crust kind of thin, not overly thin. But so hope that helps. Oh my God, 26 minutes. That's unbelievable. I had no idea it was going this long. Let me know how that turns out. Y'all take care now, and God bless. And I'm just joking. I'm not really this fat. I just playing a little joke. I'm still fat though. And I found this jacket that I've had for, God, probably 30 years. It's like an old Western jacket, you know, like a kind of like Clint Eastwood would wear in those old spaghetti westerns. I don't know why I haven't been wearing it. I like it a lot. It's really comfortable and warm. Pretty cool, you know. But anyway, God bless you. Take care. Adios.